This is Jim Ball reporting in Springfield. I'm at the Robertson County School Central Office today. Back on November the 15th at the Springfield High School, the school system made a presentation called State of the Schools. You don't have to live in the area very long to realize that most people in Robertson County have an opinion about the school system here, and generally, it's not too positive. But back on the 15th, that trend changed when for 2 hours, one presenter after another got on the stage and talked about the vast improvements the schools have made since 2010. In fact, they're already neck and neck with other school systems across the state. The school systems are generally looked at over a 3-year period. If you look at the improvement that Robertson County has experienced, it's relatively geometric in nature, meaning that once 2010, that had the lowest numbers, drops off, it's going to look even better. Now, the reason I'm here at the Robertson County School Central Office today is that I'm here to meet with Stephanie Mason, who's the supervisor of federal programs, and Lewis Walling, who is a great number cruncher and the principal of Cooperdown Middle School. They have both graciously offered to meet with Smokey and help encapsulate the 2 hours worth of numbers that they presented at the State of the Schools address and help us understand what they've done, why things are improving so quickly, and what we can look forward to in 2013. A lot has happened since 2010. I went to the meeting the other day and very impressed with the numbers. I've talked to you a little bit here today. It doesn't seem like anyone wants to take credit for the amazing success, but congratulations anyways, and that's why I'm here. And we're going to go over the numbers, and let's talk about 2010 first, and move on to 11 for a little bit, and then 12, and then maybe you can help us all understand exactly how you pulled it off, how you got it to go in this vastly improved direction.
Well, we appreciate you giving us the opportunity, and I think first we would say thank you to our teachers and our students, because that's where the rubber meets the road, and that's where all of the good things are really taking place in the classroom. Our teachers have responded very well to system initiatives led by our director of schools and the school leadership team. We have moved from operating in isolation to operating as a professional learning community, and that has really been the catalyst for change in our district, and it has spurred a lot of good things happening. And score-wise, it's reflected.
When we stop and look at 2010 and kind of see where we were, and I'm going to use our 3 through 8 math scores as an example. In 2010, 30% of our students were scoring at the proficient level, and so that's truly just the number of students. If we had 10,000 students, that's about 3,000 that were scoring proficient. The other 7,000 then weren't. That's kind of where we were in 2010, and we see similar patterns reflected in our other subject areas. Take sticking just with math, if we move to 2011, that number went up to 39% of our students were scoring at the proficient and advanced range. We saw a huge jump as we got into 2012. That number went all the way to 51%. So using 2010 as our baseline and comparing back to that, we've seen almost a 20% increase, 20% increase in our math scores. We've seen that same pattern also happen in our reading and our social studies and our science scores as well.
So how do we rank now to other school systems like Cheatham County?
We're very much in line with other counties, and we have done specific comparisons, and we can certainly send those to you, but we're very much in line with our surrounding counties. The differences are slight, I would say.
So that's a huge jump. So you want to articulate perhaps a little more on what kind of approach or systems you use to get such a huge jump and improvement in numbers in such a short amount of time? We're talking really 2.5, 3 years.
I think there were several things that have happened in our district since 2010. Of course, that was the year that we say that the standards changed, and they did change. We went to the Tennessee Diploma Project standards. Those were much higher standards, kind of much higher bar for teachers to hit, for students to hit. And that's part of the reason scores look like they did in 2010 statewide. We saw everybody kind of take a hit there in the score department because the bar had been raised. We adjusted to that. We changed what was happening in the classroom. Teachers learned some new ways to teach that would better approach these particular standards, and they began to implement those. That's part of the reason we saw the growth that we saw.
We also started to pay particular attention to our data, and responded to what the data was telling us through extra time and support periods every day in every school, so that students would have an opportunity to receive remediation or just general extra help if they weren't progressing well. That's in place in every building now. Teacher collaboration and planning is in place in every building now. There's a time for that to happen every single day. And I think those two pieces were very, very important.
If I were to pick a school at random, let's say, or a city at random, say Springfield, and say mathematics, how was Springfield doing in 2010, and how are they doing today, 2012?
Sure, and looking at all of our Springfield schools as a group, and again, I'll go back to the numbers that we saw earlier. Probably our average across our Springfield schools in math in 2010, average is going to be about 23% in math that we're scoring at the proficient level. If we fast forward to 2012 and look at these numbers, we had one of our Springfield schools as high as 58%. That school again made over a 20% increase, 20% increase in what they were doing. Our average across the board in all the Springfield schools, just roughly guesstimating at these numbers, is probably about 40%. So that's, again, on average, about a 20% increase in all of our Springfield schools in the last 3 years.
The general increase in Springfield is in line with the district. The issue is the beginning proficiency rates are lower. So the percent of proficient students is at a lower level, but we still see consistent gains each year. The chart is still moving up.
So the ball is now rolling in the right direction. Where do you see 2013? What are your goals and plans? How do you hope that turns out?
We hope to see continued growth that we've had over the last 3 years. We've tried to, again, go back and look at the data this past year. We began to get the data in June and July. That's now released to the public in November. But we began to get that in as school leaders and immediately began to react to that, put several programs in place. One of the things that we put in place this year specifically is a Pathways program for reading in all of our schools, elementary schools across the county. And so that's specifically intended to continue to increase those reading scores district-wide.
Let me see if I can take you both off guard a little bit here. Having a good school system, a good school structure, is good for business. When companies try to recruit people from other areas, they'll look at the school system, and it could affect what job they might take. They might take a job in another area because it was a better school system. Our school systems have improved drastically. If I were to say or ask you to guess, when do you think Springfield's or Robertson County school systems will reach a point where the school systems will be viewed as top level, where companies can say, we've got great schools, we've got a great job, come join us here in Robertson County?
I think you can say that now. If you look at our report card that the state issued for our school system this past year, we had the best report card that we've ever had. And so I think that's certainly something that could be said right now. I really have a lot of hope that those scores are going to increase as we go through the next year. We can talk forever about the methodology that's used to calculate those grades, but we talk about those 2010 scores and how low they were, but that's part of our 3-year average that's going to go away at the end of this year. And we're going to see, I really feel like we're going to see scores continue to increase and improve, and we'll see a much improved report card again next year.
As with any successful school program, there's a good relationship, with the community, and it seems like you guys are doing that as well. If you're a business or an individual contributor and you want to work with a school, what are the opportunities? What could you do?
I think the opportunities are endless. You can contact the school that's closest to you or where you want to volunteer, and there's always an opportunity to work with a student, to work with a group of students, or to work within improving the facility. There are those options in our schools. We also partner with some community agencies, the YMCA, the Bransford Community Project. They have terrific after-school programs, and there are opportunities there for volunteering. I think that's very important to our school district, working together in that manner. And I think also the general public staying well informed and asking school system personnel when they have questions, and taking a little time to understand what's really happening in our buildings.
Well, there you have it, Robertson County. You know, one good thing about these close-up meetings is you get a chance to eyeball these people that are running things. And I don't know about you, but I walked away with little doubt that Stephanie and Louis truly care about the job they're doing for the county. So perhaps as a community, if we continue to invest in our school systems and in people like Stephanie and Louis, this great upward trend will continue. This has been Jim Ball reporting for SmokeyBarn.com's Robertson County Daily.
It may be the most important picture you'll ever have taken. A high-tech image with remarkable clarity that can help diagnose your medical condition and potentially save your life. Advanced medical imaging, all the services you need with convenience and compassion. Northcrest Medical Center, bringing exceptional care to our community.